2 months after being arrested in a burglary attempt gone wrong, Lino was approached by an Officer Charis with a special offer. Soup up police cars for better use during high-speed chases and catching bad guys. The plan goes off swimmingly, and soon Lino has earned himself a conditional pardon. However, before the pardon can be fully implemented, Charis is turned on by his team, namely an officer named Areski, and is killed in the action. This leaves Lino holding the hook. As it turns out, Charis's gun and blood are on his body. Lino has no other choice but to go on a run and to try to prove his name right by working with Julia, the only member of the team he feels that he can trust, as she's his ex-girlfriend. He needs to find the lost bullet in order to clear his name. So, this is The Lost Bullet. It is a French film. If you are put off by foreign language and reading subtitles, there is actually an alternate English dub available on Netflix. So, if this intrigues you at all, I would say that. I mean, I think, honestly, this is probably one of the best Jason Statham movies ever made. Except Jason Statham isn't in it. I mean, this is, if you like things like The Mechanic, which would be obvious if you, as I go more into the plot of this, or the Transporter series, or what was the other one? There was another one where he kind of played a super spy type character, not Crank, but something else in that vein. You would really like this film. I think there's a lot of that type of stunts in it. It's a little bit shorter, so I'd say it's maybe a bit more like the Transporter 1. The action sequences are really well done. Its first bit. There are some kind of dead points in there, but it's mainly as Lino is working to clear his name. So I'll get a little more into Lino here. His backstory is he was working with his foster brother named Quentin, and they were planning to rob, I think it was a jewelry store or something, and they souped up one of their cars to crash through it, but it crashes through a little too well, and they basically crash through the whole building, and only Quentin manages to escape, and Lino gets arrested. Lino is like an ace mechanic and a master at turbocharging cars. That's why he's hired for this, he's offered this special position. And he finds out, he joins the team particularly because he finds out that Julia is on it, and apparently the two dated briefly, but no full relationship really came from it. And like I said, his work with Charis's team goes really well, and he sort of winds up buddying up to Charis. And then but then Charis discovers a similar rig to the types that Leo puts in their cars in an escape vehicle, and he, basically finds out that Quentin is working with possibly the Russian mafia. It's some type of organized crime outfit. They looked kind of Russian to me for some reason. And he sets out to try to get Quentin to, hey, come with me. I'm going to be free now, so we can just work together and maybe work on something a little bit better. Because at this point, Lino's more interested in actually reforming and living kind of the straight and narrow than anything else. And that's how everything kind of all goes down, and then Lino sets out to clear his name. I'll try not to be too blow by blow after that, but you do get a lot of the bog standard tropes in this type of scenario. He contacts the one person he feels he can trust. It still kind of blows up in his face, and he still has to kind of go out to clear his name. Basically, this lost bullet that is the MacGuffin in this is when they were Charis was trying to leave with Quentin, but then Areski pulled out a gun and shot Charis through a car, and the bullet is now wedged in the dashboard of Charis's car. Areski ordered the car destroyed, but the mobsters, obviously citing leverage, switched the car out. And so basically Quentin eventually informs Lino of this as well. So yeah, it's like so basically, if he can get this car with the bullet in the dashboard, that will clear his name to the proper authorities. So that's what he's trying to set out to do. And that's how everything happened. And that's kind of how this goes through. And it's kind of this rock and sock'em chase through to get through everything. Turns out there are more dirty cops, obviously, and the one person, there's one person who it's not entirely sure, but who actually, basically Areski is doing this to try to make a power play on the team so that he can be in charge, but he basically finds out the team's going to be disbanded. So he's not, exactly, it sort of blows up in his face a little bit too. And basically, and he even finds out the people he's working with can't even be trusted on top of that. So everything kind of goes into this weird scenario, but it still plays out really well. like I said, if you are turned off by the French language and subtitles, there is an alternate English dub available on Netflix, so you can watch that. I am going to be giving Lost Bullet, or The Lost Bullet, this thing kind of alternates its titles sometimes, a B. Like I said, overall, it's really good. It's really tight. It's a good, quick 90-minute watch, so it won't overextend yourself. Definitely a bit of a reprieve, considering that, like, the last 3 movies have all been 2+ hours. 2 of them have been 2.5. So, yeah, this is definitely a nice breather to end June on. So, at least I've got that going for me.
If we're gonna stop the crooks, us cops gotta know who they are. That's the rock crusher. No jail can hold them. And here's Berserko, a dangerous street punk.
Meanwhile, at the Crooks' hideout.
Look out for Long Arm. He's a tough street cop. Sergeant Mace, the SWAT team leader. And Bulletproof's a federal agent.
Give up, you crooks. You're surrounded by the cops.
Cops and crooks, sold separately, with cash.
Okay, so, yeah, still no trailers to talk about. So, like I said before, this was the last review for June. I do have a couple of streaming service things set up for July. At least 2, maybe 3. I do know the theatrical screenings are supposed to start in July now, but I'm not entirely sure. Right now, as I am speaking, the first major theatrical release is slated to be Disney's live-action version of Mulan, and then Tenet, which is Christopher Nolan's new movie, is slated to come out the next week. I am not entirely sure if that's going to be the case. Everything, like, Tenet was set for July 17th for the longest time, then just last week they pushed it back. So, again, none of this is set in stone, unfortunately. I would like to try to get back into it as soon as I can, if they do open up. I can't say for 100% certainty, but like I say, I do have a couple of things set up for July just in case. It might not be entirely weekly, though, so again, like, I know the Netflix stuff and the streaming stuff hasn't done too well in my views, but I mean, unfortunately, I'm kind of left with nothing else to talk about. So it's either I don't put out a video, or I put out a video on something that maybe people don't really want to see. So I'll just say this. The first review slated for July is going to be the performance of Hamilton that they're putting up on Disney+, because it's the original cast, and, you know, it should be fun at least. I mean, at least if I'm probably never going to get to see a performance of the original play at any point, so if I could see something with the original cast on delay at home, that should work fine enough for me. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.